beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held and slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wonder what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just won't get the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Oh my goodness, singing us in. Good morning. Good morning. That's the Ridgetop Ramblers singing us in this morning on One Street Over. This is 1100 WSGI. It's very important that we spend a little minute talking about Ridgetop Ramblers because they're going to be there for the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival this weekend. We'll be there for the fiddle competition tomorrow night. And then, of course, we'll have the festival happening all day on Saturday. So excited to be a part of that once again. I get to do that every year. So thankful to, again, get to join you for that. So hope you'll come out and be a part of that as well. We'll talk a little bit more about it as we get on into the morning, but really the most important thing that I really need to talk about today is the fact that it is my granddaughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Anderson Kate Vivio. She is 3 today. Oh my gosh. Don't we all just kind of go when our grandkids and those that we're closest to, they start, getting older and you're just like, what's going on? But yeah, our Anderson Kate is 3 today, a big 3. So happy birthday to you, Anderson. Mama loves you. Mama and Papa love you. And yes, I will be taking this little excerpt and sharing it with her because, I can say happy birthday to my granddaughter on radio. So it's kind of fun and cool. And they got a crazy day. They're moving today. She's getting a new house for her birthday. And then we got baseball. It's just kind of like, one of them crazy kind of days. So pray for my son, his bride, and their 3 kids because it's going to be a wild day, but it's a blessed day. Hope you're having a great day as well. And here's what we've got going on today. We're waiting on a call from Rich Lopez. He's going to call in for our sports segment, and we're going to hear from him about all the things happening at White House Heritage. And then United Way guys, Brian and Tiffany, they had some stuff going this morning. So what they're going to do is they ask, hey, can you get somebody to come in? And Dennis Schroader from The Price of Freedom had been asking for some time because they've got a book out. And with us approaching Memorial Day, what a perfect timing, really, to have them in. So we've got Dennis Schroeder is going to be in here at 7:30. We'll be talking with him. And then also, programming note, you're used to Rachel Culver coming in on the third Friday. Tomorrow, we are going to switch with her, and Jack Martin's coming in because he has something going on. And so he just asked if we could switch. Jack is going to try to kind of settle in with the fourth Friday. Jack Martin's my dear friend from the Green Ridge Church of Christ, and just love him. He's just got such a fascinating story. If you don't know him, just an amazing man, and so fun to talk to. So he comes in on fourth Friday, but we're switching it this month. He'll be in here tomorrow. Rachel's coming in then on the following Friday. So here is Rich giving us a call here. Give me just a second, and we'll get the phone answered, and we'll bring Rich on
Lopez.
just a second. Rich, are you with me, my friend?
I am. Good
Awesome.
morning.
Good morning. See how that worked. So good. That's the first time we tried to bring you in via the phone, and I'm so glad that worked. And I just appreciate you taking a minute with us this morning, brother.
No problem. No problem. Busy day. Busy day.
I hear you. So let's just get right to it. What all's going on in the? Because I mean, now you guys got graduation coming up on Saturday. I know that because my sister Muriel Barnett, her kiddo, Jacob's graduating and all those things. So I kind of know a little bit about what's happening at White House Heritage, but y'all got all kinds of sports stuff happening because here at the end of the year, the ones that move on, there's still games going. So kind of unpack for
Yeah.
us what's happening with you guys in the sports world.
Look, first and foremost, the for sure things that are going on. Graduation Saturday evening.
Right.
I'm praying that the rain stays
Yes.
away, so we can fill our football stadium and really celebrate that class of 2023. They deserve it. I think last year we had to rush it into the gym last second. So we're looking for a little bit different experience this year, and hopefully it'll be a nice, cool 70 degrees on the baseball or on the football field, and we can celebrate that class of 2023. So that's probably the most important thing from the athletic standpoint. Big game, bunch of big games in Robertson County. So I know over at Greenbrier has a sub-state game today, or actually the start of a sub-state series today versus Hardin County. So wishing the Bobcats over there some luck today. They could be the third team if they win 2 out of 3 games here
Which
to
sport?
punch their ticket.
Which sport? Because
Baseball.
baseball. Because I know we've had our kids were playing in soccer Wednesday night. They did not win that game. Barely got beat by Good Pasture. So our soccer boys. So I know we got soccer and baseball still happening. So clarify the sport. Got to keep us novices on track here because we won't know what you're talking
No,
about.
you're fine. So
So
baseball has a sub-state series that
okay,
starts
okay,
today, and
okay.
they could be the third Robertson County team to punch their ticket this state.
Awesome.
And then we over here at Heritage, we have a sub-state series that starts today against Westview, 4-7, and we need to win 2 out of 3 games for us to get to where we want to go
Hmm.
this season as well. So big games in Robertson County.
All right, very good. And it's just so much excitement for all the teams now. So, what happens when you say sub-state? So, how does this unpack? For me, because somebody had told me with the boys getting beat on Wednesday night, somebody at first told me that they were part of a series with soccer and they would continue on. But then I talked to one of the soccer players yesterday and he said, no, we're done. So how does this work with baseball? You say they're going into a sub-state, but then how does the state unpack? What's the timeline on that? Because I mean, we're done with school. I know the state tournaments continue on. Do you
Yep.
know if we have anybody still in track?
Uh, I
Those
know.
kinds of
I
things.
know. Yeah, I know that the track state tournament is happening this week.
Okay.
And I know that um Honestly, that's all I know. I don't know
Okay.
who's still in it. I do think there are a couple heritage runners running
Mm-hmm.
still. But I don't have much on that. I apologize. I've been
Oh, no,
been
no, no,
focused
no.
on the
Absolutely.
diamonds
Well, for
this
sure.
week. So
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot going on there, but and I kind of unpack that question. If you know anything about, because that's one thing. It's so hard to keep up with this, guys. We make this appeal every time. We need you. If you're in one of the schools that we don't talk a lot about, it's because we don't have anybody there representing you, and we just none of us have the time to go and dig for that information. I have a hard enough time just getting information from Greenbrier, and staying up to date on all of those things. I'm hoping that we'll be a little bit better at that next year as we continue to build our audio video program, getting that info. But it's a task staying up on all of it. So we need you.
it is. It
Yeah,
is.
reach out to reach out to Jamie Nixon with Nixon Pro Media. He is in charge of he's the one who he said, man, we could do this and stay up to date. So he is the one that's been helping us out with that, and we appreciate that so much because he does not get paid to do that. And if you want to help us stay up to date on what's going on in your school, you need to reach out to him, reach out to me. I imagine Rich could give you our numbers. He's got them,
I
so
do.
he'd be glad to point you this way. But so go ahead and I interrupted you. How will the state happen? What is the timeline on that with baseball? Then let's
Well,
stick with baseball.
well, let me back up just a
Okay.
little bit. So we just completed a regional a little regional tournament in which East Robertson advanced, Joe Burns advanced, White House Heritage advanced, and Greenbrier advanced. So all four of those teams made it to sub-state.
Okay.
To kind of level set where we are, East Robertson traveled to South Pittsburgh last night. Coach Wicks and the boys got it done in two games. Game one, they won 1-0, but it was a pitch count violation, which ended up giving East Robertson the nod in game one. Game two, East Robertson won 9-8. So
Oh
they
wow.
advanced to the state tournament that starts next week. So absolute congratulations to Coach Wicks, Coach McClung, Coach Cesaro, over with the East Robertson boys. And then up in at Joe Burns, Lookout Valley traveled to Joe Burns yesterday for their beginning of their series. And game one, Joe Burns won 5-2. Um, so they went to game two. Game two, Joe Burns won 10-0. So Joe Burns, I know coach is excited. They punched their ticket
Mhm.
to the state tournament starts next week. So today we got, like I said, today we got Westview and for two games, and today Greenbrier has Hardin County for two games. So we'll find out what the other side of Robertson County does today. So wish us some luck.
Mhm.
But the way that it works now, so they're before the sub-state series worked, there were 16 teams left in each division. It looks like East Robertson and Joe Burns are now in the final 8 teams in the state, and they'll go compete for a state championship next week. And it looks like we are Greenbrier and Heritage has a chance to do the same thing. So excited about that.
I'm a little concerned as a teacher. We have finals on Monday and Tuesday. It's not going to be Monday and Tuesday, is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It actually starts
oh.
on Tuesday.
Okay.
So we'll have an opportunity to get everything in on
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay.
But Tuesday will be a big day, and they'll be playing. I know in our class we play at Riverdale and Stewart's Creek.
Uh-huh.
If whoever makes it from the Double A class will play at Riverdale and Stewart's Creek. I'm not calling any shots. I'm not saying we're going to go.
Sure,
So,
of course.
um, but
Well, but
yeah.
this
So
is something from an academic perspective. We've got to make arrangements if we're going to have. Now we're only we're doing we will be done with finals before lunch on Tuesday. So as long as the games don't start too early, we should be able to knock the finals out. And then there's always a makeup day on Wednesday if we have to do it. But we've got finals Monday and Tuesday that we have to be thoughtful about, and we also have graduation Monday night.
yeah. So I really need Derek Wicks to call in
Mm.
one day and tell the story, but East Robertson won a state championship in baseball back in 2021, and they were actually playing during graduation,
Oh my
and
gosh.
those kids got their diploma on the baseball field, and I know that's something that they'll never forget.
Of course.
Kind of a cool experience, but I wasn't there, but
Yeah.
I watched it from afar,
Yeah.
and I think that those kids absolutely enjoyed that, even though they missed a big celebration. Getting
Yeah.
a ring and being the best team in your class is something special too.
That's so cool. Well, I mean, I just as I'm thinking about this, I'm going, "Ooh, what about this? What about that?" So, okay, I need to as a Greenbrier, teacher, I'll go in and start asking some questions. Of course, we got to get through the games tonight. We got to get through the games tonight. If
Yep,
I ask that question right now, they'll say, "Just shut up, Miss Vivio. You're gonna we don't want to talk about it. Let's just get through tonight, and then we'll figure it out." So we'll just
that's
leave it at
it.
that. Yeah, we'll
That's
see
it.
what happens tonight, and then we'll ask the questions. But yeah, but that's a
Absolutely.
thing. That's a thing. Wow, I didn't even think about all that going on. But it's such an exciting time. Are your kiddos ready for summer? Ready to be done?
Look, we really preach, and Coach Golf does a good job, and Coach Beck, and the rest of the coaching staff over here, we do a good job of just allowing them to be where their feet are.
Yeah.
So I would say if we gave the boys a minute to think about it, they would probably say yes. But I think the secret is for us this year. We made a big run last year. Like we played until the absolute end of May.
Uh huh.
We finished in the final four. There was only two games
Wow.
after us. There's only two more games that we could possibly play, and we played the whole time. So this year, like, they're locked and loaded, and
Yeah.
they want to do that again.
Yeah.
I do have a senior. He does. He is enjoying a little bit of the freedom of being out of school already, and
Mm-hmm.
I got to nudge him to get up. And so, yeah, he
Sure.
does have senioritis. But look, we got a big opportunity in front of us,
Yes.
and they're all pretty locked in and wanting to go accomplish some goals we set at the beginning of the year. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. Rich Lopez is with us this morning, and we are talking all things, of course, White House Heritage. Lopez is your last name, right?
It is.
Okay, I'll just it's so funny because you meet different people, and this morning I was typing your name in, and I was like, I think I've got this right. But anyway,
Mhm.
I appreciate so much you coming and being a part of the show, and helping us out. I tell you what, can you hang for a minute while I do a quick commercial and come right back, or do you need to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
No,
well,
ma'am. I'm good.
I'm going to let you hang on for just a second. We're talking with Rich Lopez from White House Heritage. And let's pause and talk about our friends over at Cumberland Connect. Just one of our full time sponsors that we're so excited about. We've been joking around that got to be a part of the gig club. And it seems like everybody that comes in and sits at this table with me that has Cumberland Connect, they're in the gig club because why not? I know my children, and I've said this many times, my sons that are in, my sons are so smart, and I just don't want him to start bragging on them, but they work in the technology field. Several of them do. And they look at me and they're like, Mother, you do not need a gig. That's like filling your bathtub with a fire hose. And then I ask them, well, how much do you have? Well, I have a gig, but I mean, I do what I do. So again, why not? If you can get a gig and be a part of the gig club. It's only $80. I was paying $65 a month for terrible internet. I had 3.5 upload speeds. I'm now in the 600s. It's crazy. If you want to know if they're in your neighborhood, if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, you will eventually have access to Cumberland Connect. If you can call 1-800-987-2362, 1-800-987-2362, or go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, and put in your zip code, you'll find out exactly, maybe they're already in your neighborhood or when will they get there. And if you need help financially, they've got an affordable connectivity program providing qualifying households with monthly credit to help pay for internet services. And if you're eligible, you could receive a credit of up to $30 per month toward broadband services. Guess what? They've got a package for just $30 per month, and it will get you up and flying. Check them out today and let them know U-Turn sent you. Getting back into the show with Rich Lopez. And anything else that we need to talk about, my friend, as we get ready to wrap up your portion of the show? What else you got for us?
Well, look, just a couple reminders. I'm going to stick on the games tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, ticket prices tonight are $10 at the gate. So just be aware of that. Those ticket prices are set by TSSAA, and they get their portion of that. So no sticker shock when you show up at the games, whether it's here or Greenbrier. I would also make a recommendation you show up a little bit early, just because I know we're expecting about 300, maybe 350 people here at Heritage tonight. I would assume Greenbrier is the same.
Mm-hmm.
So show up early, cheer these kids on. This is something that, like I said, only 16 teams in the state in each division get to this point. So it's kind of a big deal, and the kids deserve it. Last commercial I got is if baseball is not your thing, or and you want to take your significant other out to dinner tonight in White House, support local, because White House has graduation going on. We got a baseball game going on. You can go into any restaurant in White House tonight and get right in.
Oh
So
yes. There you go. That's a
come to
fun,
White
that
House.
is hysterical. That's funny. That is a
Yeah.
very good point. I love that. Well, and can you tell me do you know so the games are at Greenbrier and at White
Yep.
House Heritage, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so I'm just
4 and 7.
clarifying that.
4 and 7.
Okay, so at 4 and then at 7 o'clock, because at Greenbrier we also have our academic awards tonight.
Yep.
So that's all. I mean, you talk about parking, crazy, crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Yep.
But that maybe it'll fall at a good time though, because if you've got a game starting at 4, the academic awards are at 6. So maybe it'll
Yeah.
just kind of hit that perfect spot of a window of opportunity to go in. Okay, let's do the awards now. Back out to the baseball field. So it's just that time of the year. It is crazy. I've never been in the high school atmosphere to see so much going on, but it's fun. It's exciting, and I think we're all going to need a nap in about a week or so. So there you go.
Memories for sure.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Well, I've been praying for success on y'all's end, and for all the kiddos and all the things you've got going on, and may want to touch base with you next week just to kind of get recaps of all those kinds of things. I don't know what's going on with Jamie on Thursday next week, but if you're not where you could come by, maybe we can dial you in and have a conversation with you via phone. Maybe would you want to do that possibly?
Yeah, look, 100%. I'm always open.
Okay.
Jamie called me last night.
Hmm.
The only thing is hopefully we're still playing, and that state tournament goes next week, from Tuesday through the weekend.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay.
if we are, Lord willing, if we're still playing next week, and I need to call in, or
Okay.
we'll make it work. But that's what the ultimate prize is
Sure.
next week playing in Murfreesboro,
Hmm.
and
Well, we'll
maybe it's in my future.
Okay, well, we'll just kind of keep that in mind, and even if I've got it set up to where we can put an extra set of headphones on in here, so if we needed to get somebody on the phone, even while Jamie's in here, we can set that up and do that now, I think. So we may give that a try just because I think it'll be fun and exciting if we can possibly. And again, if you're ever not available, don't put a pressure on yourself to be a part of this. We appreciate it because, man, nobody's giving you anything to do this except just our gratitude and really giving us a chance to honor these kiddos, these amazing student athletes that just put so much time and effort in, and they got to make the grades too. So just incredible. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you very much, and God bless your kiddos as they head. You got a graduating senior and all those things, all those emotions too. So God bless you, brother.
Well, thank you, thank you. If your listeners think about it and want to reach out to Coach Wicks and congratulate him, or John Mark up at Joe Burns, like John Mark is retiring at the end of this year,
Okay.
and for him to take a team to the state tournament on his last year is kind of special. We did it last
Hmm.
year with Coach Logston, so it's something that he'll remember forever. So reach out, congratulate those guys. It's a big, big, big deal.
Hmm.
And hopefully when this weekend gets here, well, I'm not going to say, I mean, hopefully, but we have a possibility for 4 Robertson County
Mm.
schools to have baseball teams in Murfreesboro next week, which would be something that doesn't happen very often. So
Yeah.
that'd be a good show next week for you.
Oh my goodness, yes. How exciting. How exciting. Thank you so much. Well, we're just gonna be praying for good fortune, good and safety, of course, and all those things as everybody heads into graduations and state tournaments and all the things, and gotta get those finals in too. So appreciate you so much. Anything else you got before we part ways here?
No, look, I just appreciate the visibility you give to the athletics programs around Robertson County. These kids deserve it, and it's just awesome. So thanks for the opportunity.
Well, and I'll put this seed in your brain too. As we get into summer, there won't be as much going on. I'd love to have some of the kiddos, some of the students come in here that you think just we might have a good fun time talking to. So if you think about a student that you think, hey, we could come, maybe your son, because I know he's going to be playing at the next level. Maybe he wants to come in and talk about the anticipation of going to college. But I would love to feature some of the students and have them come in here.
Yeah,
So between you and Jamie, y'all think of a couple that maybe we could have in as we're going through the summer, to kind of keep that interest going and keep that build going, whether it be ones that are graduating, playing at the next level, or ones that are coming in that are, really anticipating a great season, things that they've got going on, their hopes for the seasons ahead. But through the summer, those are the kinds of things that we can do where maybe we can get the kids and their faces in here. I'd love to visit with them one on, just face to face in here. So I'll just plant that seed there.
yeah,
So kind of keep that in mind.
I love. I love that idea, and one
Awesome.
of the things that just came in my head when you said that is that letting these kids talk about the recruiting process. I know we have
Yes.
two here. We've had a couple
Mm-hmm.
through. Wix has a bunch.
Yes.
But if you can get kids in and talk about the recruiting process and just telling people not to stress it and what's going to happen is going to happen and what they've
Yes.
done, I think that's good and it goes a long way and other kids can learn from it. So I absolutely love it, and I'll get with Jamie on it.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Rich, and Godspeed and prayers for great blessings over the next week and a half. All right, my friend. God
Well,
bless.
th- thank you. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, Rich. That's Rich Lopez with White House Heritage and all things baseball, y'all. Oh my goodness, it's just exciting right now. There's so much going on. Even being over in part of everything going on at Greenbrier, I didn't realize all the things. It is nuts. Dr. Osborne, she told us at the first of the week, it's going to be a crazy week, but it's going to be an awesome week. Oh my goodness, could it get any crazier? But so much fun. The kids are having a blast. They had field day yesterday. That was a hoot. I had a chance to visit with TSU yesterday, and some things that we would like to do there. And I don't want to say anything because you just never know what's going to happen. But so much exciting stuff on the horizon, and I'm so honored to be a part of it and be a part of the Robertson County school system. It's just awesome, and I'm having a great time. So here's where we want to go. We're waiting on Dennis Schroader. He's going to come on in here. He is with the Price of Freedom, and we're going to let him come on in here. And oh, you're in here. Come on, Dennis, come on in. I'm going to let him get seated while I go ahead and do one of our breaks. Go ahead and get seated while I do one of my commercials. And we're going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. We've got to really talk a lot about them. I'll be talking a little bit more. I'll probably have on one of my Kilgore Station Bluegrass shirts tomorrow because we're going into the Bluegrass Festival. I always bring it up when I'm talking about Barry and Rebecca simply because they're one of the sponsors. Barry's on the board there. That's how I got to know them so well. And if you want the weekend, the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival is just a great time to come out and connect with people you haven't seen in a while. Just say hello. If you want to come out to the Richards's Exit Realty table, you can just sit across the table from 'em. Maybe you've been thinking maybe I should sell. Oh no, maybe it's the time to buy. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to change careers and be a realtor. This is a good weekend to sit down and have those conversations with them. So come to the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. Just sit down with them. Or if you just want to give them a call, you can call Rebecca. She can be reached at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. And just a reminder, they've been at this a long time. Rebecca's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. That means she's always studying, staying up to date on it. Barry comes out of a marketing background, so you want a marketer on your real estate team? Yeah, that's awesome. Works in the community, does so much for me at the school, helping me with my audio video stuff. I just can't say enough about how he has just volunteered and helped so many people. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. They're in Cross Plains, been there for like 27 years. So they're Robertson Countyans, and they love it here. You can connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. Always send you. And thank you for sponsoring. Dennis Schroeder's in the house. How are you doing? Appreciate you.
I'm glad to be back with
Yeah.
you again. It's a wonderful morning outside.
And I just want to say, Dennis is a perfect example of what I say. Keep calling me because he had a very good reason. He said, "Hey, we need to get back on the show. We've got the book ready, and it's perfect timing too because this is about the price of freedom, and Memorial Day is coming up. Very, very quickly. And so this opening up today was perfect because I don't know that I have any openings next week. And so I was trying to figure out where to put you on the show because I wanted to make sure and get you in before Memorial Day. So I was so thankful that the day opened up. And thank you for being diligent and staying after me. All the things we love because I want to have a diverse guest list to come in here. We have our regulars that come in all the time, but we need to hear from folks like you and say, man, what's going on? You unpacked this. What a beautiful book. Y'all did a great job on that. You unpacked this for us, a couple of months ago?
It was about 2 months ago, yes.
I honestly, when you told me the book was ready, I was stunned because it sounded like it was going to be a longer period when you were in last before you were going to have this first installment.
Well,
ready.
I was still learning a lot about the book publishing business, and we'd been at this for much longer than I thought it was going to take. And so.
Well, there you go.
We finally got it. It's out. Those that are watching, you can see the cover. Actually, we engaged with a Nashville-based book cover designer. Her name is Kristen Engebortsen.
Beautiful job.
And she did a fabulous job on that. So if you're an author, I definitely highly recommend her. We all say don't judge a book by its cover. Well, most of us actually do. So if you have a book and you actually want people to buy your book,
yeah, you want it to look nice.
Yeah.
And she did a beautiful job.
Yes,
I
she
love this. I mean, I do. I've got some things that I'm working on getting out there as well, and I think I need her number. This is excellent, and just a beautiful job. I mean, who did all the formatting and all that for the book itself?
I had help from the writer is Keith Keith Hayden, and he's
Great job.
His prior publisher helped me to put the interior design together, but the publisher that we went with to actually have it printed is Palmetto Publishing out of South Carolina.
Okay.
And they had to redesign it somewhat to fit their type style.
They did a beautiful job.
They really
just
did.
absolutely beautiful job. I love this. I love just the feel of it, and I can't imagine the family and how they feel about this.
So the family.
Talk to me about this. Explain the price of freedom. Let's unpack it for everybody, because for folks that aren't familiar with your nonprofit and what you're doing and what your mission statement is, let's talk about that so they understand it, and then you can tell the story of the book. Okay.
So the Price of Freedom Foundation is dedicated to telling the complete life stories of those who paid the ultimate price for our freedom, the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who died while serving in our military, and that includes not just active duty, but Guard and Reserve as well. And the point to all of this is that very rarely do we hear the complete story. I mean, there's a handful of folks that nationally everybody knows about, Pat Tillman being probably the most prominent in my mind.
Right.
But the vast majority of families who lose someone in this way really don't get the chance to do this. And in fact, what we do is sit down and find as many people as possible that knew the fallen during the course of their lifetime, all the way from childhood up through their time in service, and of course the event that caused their death. We do in-depth interviews with them. We ask for copies of other things that are going to help tell the story. So personal letters, photos, videos, those that are have been using social media, we ask for access to the social media accounts. We collect all of that. We give it into the hands of a writer to pull that all together and tell that story truthfully and honorably. And that's what we do, and that's what we offer to any Gold Star family. So there are Gold Star families here in Robertson County that we would love to hear from, because we want their story, their loved one's story told. And one of the things that we discovered with this story, this is our first story that's out, is that it's a voyage of discovery for everybody. No matter how intimately you knew the fallen, there's somebody else that knew them in a different way. With with the case with this family, every single person that we've interviewed, when they have seen the other interviews, they said, "Wow, I didn't know that about him, and I thought I knew him completely." So we want to provide that to the families, as well as having the book to be able to read it all and to have and keep for future generations.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually, we intended to take all the recorded interviews and create documentary videos. We don't have the resources to do that yet, but that's that's what
Well,
we're about.
You could get there. I
We'll
mean,
get there
that's just it.
eventually.
Yeah, and I mean, and then you can take all that you've done in the books and do, and put them together. I mean, there's just all kinds of ways you can do and present this.
So what
just
you're looking at
beautiful, just
right now
beautiful. Great
is
pictures and stuff in here. I mean, because when you're reading a narrative of somebody's life and you get drawn into it, you think, I wonder what that looked like. And so when you can offer some images, it just kind of deepens the story a little bit more.
right.
And so I think that's so special that you've got some images of the soldier
The
in
family
here
had
and the
a
family.
lot of
Yeah.
pictures that they were able to share with us.
Mhm.
They also had a bunch of video. Again, when we are able to get to the video, you'll get to see things
Mhm.
like parts of the memorial services that the Navy did 2 memorial services for Alfonso. Just briefly, Alfonso
Mhm.
was in the Navy. He was born in the Philippines. He served some time in the Philippine Army prior to joining the U.S. Navy. He met his wife in the Philippines while he was in the U.S. Navy. They had 3 children. He was lost at sea from off the deck of the USS Kitty Hawk in October of 1998. And this story is basically piecing this all together.
Mhm.
There's some mystery around his loss at sea, and there
Mhm.
still is. And but
Sure.
one of the things, one of the last photo that I put in the book is a photo of his best friend, and his best friend was the last person to have seen him
Wow.
alive. And of course, with any disappearance, who are the investigators going to be looking at hardest? The last
Oh
person
yeah.
to see him alive.
Yeah.
So after a couple of months of their investigation, he was exonerated. However, he had never seen the full report. So
Mhm.
one of the things we were able to do was to do a Freedom of Information Act request and get a copy of that report and provide
Wow.
that to him. So it provided some closure for him as well. So there's a lot
Mhm.
of things behind the scenes that you're not going to see or really hear about in the book, but
Mm.
it is a positive thing experience for everybody. And what you're looking at is actually what you're when somebody goes to Amazon or Barnes and Noble or any other online bookseller, that is a print-on-demand copy of the book, and so that is exactly the paperback version that you can get. It's also available in hardcover and
Mhm.
ebooks. What we're going to be giving to the family is a special edition. It's going to be offset print, so you're going to have 2 different paper stock in there. You're going to have the glossy paper with the photos and with the captions, and then a different paper stock for the printed version elements of it. It will have the same cover. It'll be slightly different size, and we are going to be providing those to the family. We were anticipating doing a presentation ceremony about now, actually,
Mhm.
but they requested it be done on or near Veterans Day this year. So we have several months before they're going to get copies of it, but that's at their request.
Okay.
We are currently working with the USS Midway Museum in San Diego because that was a ship that Alfonso was assigned to twice during his career. And in San Diego, of course, because that's where most of his family actually resides now. So we are committed to, again, serving the families and
Mhm.
basically providing them with something that can be a lasting legacy,
Mhm.
as well as getting the story out, because that's
Mhm.
the biggest challenge that Gold Star families have is the sense that their loved one's going to be forgotten.
Mhm.
And for the most part, that is true. That
Mhm.
happens about a year to 2 years after the loss because, let's face it, we all move on with our lives. And if you don't have something that you can provide to the general public, what you've got left are just the memories that you carry.
Mhm.
And so the close family and friends still remember them all the days of their lives, but very rarely will anybody else. So that's why I believe, that they deserve more. Their families deserve more, and that's what we're all about.
I love it. I love it. I think it's so special and it's such a beautiful idea. And I think when I'm going to do a quick break and then we come back, I want to kind of unpack why you're doing this. What gave you this idea? A little bit more about if you talk about wanting to talk about what Robertson County families. Is there a Robertson County tie to this story? But let me let you think about that, and we'll come back and ask those questions and just kind of continue on talking with Dennis Schroader. Schroader or Schrader?
Schroader.
Schroader, Dennis Schroader. Price of Freedom is his nonprofit. And I got to tell you, real funny. We have a mutual friend, Todd Hibbs, and I got a message from him a few weeks ago. Hey, I got a guy you got to have on. It's called Price of Freedom. His name's Dennis Schroader, and he's a friend of mine. And I was like, yeah, he was on a couple of months ago. I'm way ahead of you, brother. But I did not know the book was ready though, so he was putting me on alert that needed to get you back in here.
Yes, indeed.
So, but let's pause for a second. Let's talk about Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. They had their Customer Appreciation Week last week, and it was just a rousing success. But we want to invite you to come out again this weekend because hydrangeas, the word this week, they are absolutely beautiful. They have got a peach hydrangea. That is so gorgeous. This is the time of the year to put beautiful things in your yard and enjoy them and just anticipate them coming back if they're perennials. Or maybe you want to have a garden that, in the words of Brian Pulley, if you get all your bedding plants from Corbin, you're going to have to till it under at the end of the season because you're just going to be like, I can't eat no more tomatoes. That's just too much because their garden did so well. It was the best garden they ever had. It's the way the things are rooted at Corbin. They just take such great care of their plants. And it's obvious when you go out there and you see the beauty and you see the health of the plants. I've seen Amy, as a matter of fact, I'll go looking for something. She goes, well, it's just not, no, I'm not going to sell it right now because it's just not ready. I need to let it grow. I need to let it, have some sunshine. Maybe I need to do some fertilizing. She's very particular about what is coming out of Corbin Creek Greenhouse. And she just does such a wonderful job. Her and her mom, Miss Jane out there, and all the folks that help them out. Go in the store while you're out there. They've got a store on site that a lot of people think is just an office. Well, no, it's a gift shop. That's where you're going to find handcrafted items from Miss Jane. Cool stuff, pot holders and bowl cozies for your microwave and all kinds of aprons, fun stuff. And you're going to find all the CBD products you need to keep you in check if you've got inflammation issues in your body. CBD may be the game changer for you that it has been for me. My doctor told me to start using it. I was skeptical too, but go check it out. They can answer your questions, and it's Robertson County CBD. It's produced from plants grown right here. And if you have questions, go talk to them. You can call them at 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185, or just stop by and see them at 4920 Highway 161, and you know what to do. Let them know. Okay, those questions that I unpacked for Dennis. So is there a Robertson County
I met through a mutual connection on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And so one daughter was living in Virginia, another one was living in New York City, and the rest of the family was in San Diego, and friends scattered all over the place.
But would it be fair to say that this is the one that just kind of perked the idea in you? Maybe was that part of it? What happened? Why are you doing this?
I'm doing this because of my own background.
Okay.
I was born into a Navy family. I wanted to join the Navy after college. I was looking for a way to go to college. I went to the
GI Bill.
ROTC scholarships.
Yep.
The Navy said I could get a scholarship, but I have defective color vision, so they said you can be a Marine. And I love Marines now, but at that time, I was thinking Blue Water Navy, and that just wasn't what I wanted. So the Army had offered me a 4-year scholarship as well, so that's the route I took. And
So
the
your
Army
Army.
did well by me. I served 24 years in the Army,
Thank you.
retired originally in 2000. I say originally because 11 years later, I was asked to come back and did 2 years up at Fort Knox. And that's actually how I wound up coming back and being here in Tennessee. It's the job that I got after that. But what really affected this was just this whole lifelong experience of during the Vietnam War and all the horrible ways that soldiers were treated when they came back home. seeing that change in the '80s, seeing the change in attitudes in the public, and then after the Gulf War started, and post 9/11, I saw some very positive things that I wasn't expecting to see in major publications, and I said, "That's great." But in the back of my head, I was always thinking, well, what about all the others? What about all the others that never get any attention, never get any details shared? And I just felt that it's just not right. And our technology has developed such that it's so much easier today to pull these stories together than it was 30, 40 years ago. And why not? We need to do this. Now, is it cheap and easy to do? No, it's not. This process took us about 2 years to get this book done. Now, I will say that almost 9 months of that was me learning about the actual printing of this. We had this manuscript finished last May, so a year ago.
Right.
Now that I know what I have learned about the book publishing and printing process, that process post manuscript is probably going to only take about 2 months.
Okay.
So we'll be
Gotcha.
much faster
Now,
in the
next
future.
time you get one done, you're just like ready to do it.
Right.
So now, when you say, and I'm curious from the printing perspective, so you say it's on demand. You order it through Amazon, but you actually order it from the publisher. So it's not an Amazon printed book. It's not one of the Amazon published books.
It will be through. Well, I'm thankful that Palmetto Publishing has been around for a long time, and they set it up so I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
But basically, somebody, probably Amazon, will print it. It could be through. There's another publisher that a lot of folks use. It's actually Tennessee based. That it may actually be printed by them. I don't know who actually prints the book, but they all are going to look just like that. Whether it's Barnes and Noble or Amazon or any of the other online, Books a Million or whoever you go through, your favorite bookseller, you'll get the same quality book when you order through them. But basically, what it means is for a small group like ourselves, or if you're an independent author, it means you don't have to come up with tens of thousands of dollars and have books printed and stored in an Amazon warehouse or something like that, hoping that somebody's going to buy your book. So it's a great innovation over the past several years that have allowed more books to be published and not require that authors go broke.
Oh yes,
in
know.
the process.
Yeah. And I can't say enough about anybody who tells me that they've got a book idea. I'm like, well, then do it, because there's never been a better time to get your stuff out there.
Absolutely.
And I really, what you said about the record for the family, if for no other reason, do it for that.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the things that I publish or print, or it is just so my family will know me and know me and my husband more than anything. 'Cause he's not a word person. He's always like, Laverne, can you write this for me? And it's like, no, write it yourself. But that's one of the things I do. But so I speak for he and I. So for them to know who we were, you got to leave a record.
Absolutely.
And why would you not do that if you've got a story to tell? And I love that you're doing this for, I've mentioned to you my friend Kenneth Pease that from West Kentucky.
Right.
And he was our hired hand. And, and I think about what story you would tell about Kenneth's life. What I knew of him was just as a child. And so I don't know a lot about Kenneth.
But you know some. And
Yeah.
you know some that
Yeah.
other people who knew him later in life have no idea about.
Well, he has brothers that I'm sure could tell all kinds of stories,
Right.
And that would be such a sweet thing to do for that family, because truly, he died as a teenager, right out of high school. He barely set foot in Vietnam, and he was gone. He was one of those,
Yes.
and it was just like a mist. And we have a little plaque for him at the high school I graduated from. We had a plaque for him. Of course, that school is completely shut down now, and that was one of my first questions: where's Kenneth's plaque going? I believe it's going to the county school, but that's something I will follow up and make
Please do.
sure I'm going to make sure his plaque got put in the right place and not left at the school. And it wasn't just him. There were a couple of other soldiers too that I was not familiar with.
Right.
Make sure that they're honored at the county school. They've shut down our school, but that needs to be honored. And
That's interesting that you mentioned the Vietnam era veterans, because our second story is of a soldier. He was an E7, so you think about, well, he was older. Well, actually, he was only 27 years old.
wow.
And he was killed in a helicopter accident in Vietnam. It wasn't. They were actually on their way to try and find enemy and get engaged in action, but they had a loss of transmission fluid in their, and basically the
accident.
helicopter went down with him and 11 other
God
people
bless
on
him.
that purge. So we're actively doing research on his story right now, but it's harder because the more time passes, the fewer people are around,
yeah.
and let's face it, memories fade. So, what I would say for being able to talk about your story, there are lots of companies out there that do a great job to help you to tell your story, and most of them do it at a pretty reasonable price. But what we're about is telling the stories for people who are no longer here to tell them.
Right.
And so that's what we're all about, and we'd love for you to buy a copy of this book and read
Support
this
it.
and see what this is all about. And we also want folks to join us. Right now, it's myself and a handful of volunteers. The mission is huge. We need a big team in order to make this a reality for even a fraction of the Gold Star families that are out there. So, if you have a heart for this, come talk to me, because we'll find a place for you. Right now, what I'm really looking for are researchers. If anybody's done any genealogical research, you've got the skills that we need to be able to find out the details about these. Because once we do interviews, it's like, okay, we've touched on what this person did this time, this place, etc. But our brains are not really focused on what else was going on in that community or at that time frame that really helped to make this story more understandable. So what Keith Hayden did with this, he was a Air Force criminal investigator when he was on active duty. So he already had that mindset, and he went in and did that research for us. And that's why this story is as good as it is, because he was able to bring an understanding of what was going on geopolitically there. Why was Alfonso most likely in the Filipino army? What was he doing in that time frame? What was going on in the ocean while that ship was moving when he was lost at sea? Those are the kinds of things that we need researchers to help us with. I will tell you too, if you are an author, if you've written books and maybe you're looking for something to write, we are looking for writers, because writing a book like this is not in my skill set. It's not my wheelhouse. I have experience writing military writing, right? The stuff that's going to put you to sleep in about 5 minutes. That we don't want to have happen. So this took Keith 5.5 months of his life to put together. And he didn't ask for any money up front. We are going to be paying him a royalty on any books that are sold, so please buy some so we can compensate Keith
him a bit, yeah.
for this. But and we're still at that kind of stage right now, so it's not going to be every author, every writer who can afford to do that. But if that's you, if you have the time and you don't need upfront compensation for this, we would love to have you be the author for we have 3 stories that we're researching right now.
Okay.
So we've got opportunity and we have a need for that.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're doing a Vietnam. What are some of the other stories you're researching?
The
right
other
now?
2 are, both of them are more recent. One is an airman who was a explosive ordnance disposal expert in Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
And he was killed by a roadside bomb. And certainly not something that he was working on. It was just they were in transit like so many others.
So many lost that way. That was so many.
And the final one is another sailor who was another lost at sea more recently. So we don't have the details yet on that. I have agreement from his mother that she wants his story told, but that's all that I know right now about that.
Yeah. There's a couple of people that we feature. We do a little Memorial Day display at our church with family members of people from the congregation, and there's one that we just started featuring last year because his his relative, he's got a relative that goes to church with us, but his story is fascinating. I can't recall the man's name right now because I haven't put the display up yet, but there's something covert that was in his background. So a lot of the details of his are completely classified, and
right.
you can't get information, but it would be fascinating if that stuff got released because we all kind of curious now that we're kind of going, what was the deal?
Right.
Yeah, because it's
Well,
just
we're not about disclosing classified.
I know, but it makes you go, huh? People like me go, man, I want to know more. But you just never know where this could lead in telling these stories. But I just
Absolutely.
appreciate what you're doing. And we're talking with Dennis Schroader, and he is with the Price of Freedom, and it is a nonprofit that you can get involved with. It's just mission to tell the stories of those who paid the ultimate price, the price of freedom. I'm going to pause for a second, talk about our last sponsor, and then we're going to come back and wrap it up. And then I got to get to school. I got a busy day. But we want to pause and talk about our friends over at Veterans Motorplex. As everybody knows, Jerry took over Highland Rim Speedway. That's how you'll find them on social media. Look up Highland Rim Speedway. And that way you can find them on social media. They kept those social media accounts because they had a lot of followers, and so why would they change it? But you'll see the banner there will say Veterans Motorplex. Very important thing on this Let's Talk Trash magazine that the Keenans put out. Love you, Debbie, for doing this. On the very back of it is your free ticket. This ticket is worth $40, and it will get in up to six kids, and 2 adults for free. These things are all over town. We gave them out at schools. They came out in the paper last week. You'll find them, I think, still at Home and Jewelers, the post office, some of the different places around town. But you definitely want to check this out. This is a free ticket, you guys. All you got to do is fill it out, and you can go to the races for free. This pass is good for any race during 2023. Are you kidding me? This is awesome. Get some of those. That is a great deal right there. So go get your Let's Talk Trash magazine, and on the back, that's your ticket to the races, and go out. If you haven't been to the races and you're like, I don't know if I want to invest the money, well, there you go. There's no reason not to go, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend for the races. Go and check it out. They've got Jackson McLaren is going to make his pro late model start this Saturday at Veterans Motorplex, and he's going to be in the Bubba Bout Broke car. Love these guys. As y'all know, Caleb Stratton are with Wildlife Resources. He is part of the Bubba Bout Broke podcast. If you go to the Highland Rim Speedway page, you'll find the latest episode of Bubba Bout Broke. I just like to say that. It's hysterical. It's doing very well, too. I mean, it's just a great premise, great title. I love it when you see things like that doing well. So go and check that out. And then there's also their live stream that they'll do tonight. And they're going to be talking to Chase Corrin. He's the driver of the Willie Coates 71 Pure Stock car, and he's going to talk about his journey from carts to pure stocks. That's what's going on at Veterans Motorplex. You want to be a part of it. Gates will open tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And again, you got a free ticket in the Let's Talk Trash magazine. They're right there. You know where, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. Go and see them today. Thank you for sponsoring us here on One Street Over and telling me to send you. Okay, then we've got to wrap it up. We've got a few minutes. What do we need to talk about? Absolutely. Do that.
Our website is www.priceoffreedomfoundation.org. You can reach me by email at info@priceoffreedomfoundation.org. You can call me direct, 615-389-1867. Love to hear from you, whether it's just to say, hey, encourage you in what you're doing, or hey, I'd like to help, or hey, here's a family that we'd like to work with and honor.
Okay.
So there's we just appreciate you being
my pleasure
to do this, and we're all about keeping these memories alive and not letting them fade into the dustbin of history.
Oh, wonderful. I appreciate your work so much, Dennis. And I'm going to have you do the radio thing. You gave those numbers one time. Go through them again, and I want you to give each one twice. Because people are, if they're writing it down or they're in the car, that's what you do. You got to do it twice. So do it again, but do each one of the contacts twice.
Sure. Okay. Well, our website is www.priceoffreedomfoundation.org. That is www.priceoffreedomfoundation.org. You can email me at info@priceoffreedomfoundation.org. That's info@priceoffreedomfoundation.org. Or you can call me direct at 615-389-1867. That's 615-389-1867.
There you go. Everybody's going, thank you, because I mean, we run through these numbers. You got to pause and make sure that you can get them out there, because
Understood.
this is a good thing. This is a very important thing, and appreciate you so much coming in and spending some time with us. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I got to get to school, but I do want to remind you of the programming change tomorrow. Instead of Rachel Culver on the third Friday, we flip-flopped her with Jack Martin from the Greenridge Church of Christ, and he's going to be in here, and he's just always so much fun. Rachel will be next week. Also, Wild Doc could not be in here on his typical first Friday. He comes in and does a special edition of the Go Show first Friday, so they're going to have that tomorrow. And Doc Brown happens to be my chiropractor, and he's awesome. And if you haven't checked out the Wild Doc and Wild Roots up in Clarksville, oh my gosh, it's phenomenal stuff. And he's just so interesting to listen to. He'll be on tomorrow, so lots of stuff to tune in to 1100 WSGI for. We appreciate you being a part of everything we've got going on. So have a wonderful day, and be sure and join us tomorrow for all the things. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a great day.